First up, Chelsea wrapped up an astonishing fourth successive Women's Super League title as Reading's 8-year stay in the league came to an end. So let's get into the WSL then, and we've got to talk about the champions first of all. As I said, their fourth title despite all the competition. Emma Hayes says claiming the double, it's been a much tougher season than it perhaps could have been. Is that something you agree with?
I think it has been, and I think to win 4 consecutive, that's quality, isn't it? To be able to do it, but then to do it again each time, I think is really impressive. And this season obviously had that competition of, you know, instead of just having the 3 teams maybe in and around Arsenal and Manchester City, you've now got Manchester United in there, you've now got Aston Villa who are certainly pushing sides. The fact they lost the first game of the season, but they just have the know-how, they have the experience to be able to come back. They've obviously had injuries as well to key players, Millie Bright being one of them, Pernille Harder. So Fran Kirby's missed a large majority of the season, so they've had to cope with that. Emma Hayes obviously was out for a period of time with her illness, and her staff took control and did a very good job. So, yeah, they've got a great squad depth. They've got a real winning mentality. I think Emma Hayes still wants that Champions League, the FA Cup and the league, absolutely brilliant and fantastic achievement. But I think the Champions League, that'll certainly be something that she's still desperate to get. But
does she? Because what would have got Chelsea fans in a sort of Emma Hayes of panic was the fact when she was asked...
This is the last day. Can't do with these jokes anymore.
When she was asked at the end of the game what her future would be, she was quite coy about it. She said, you don't make decisions when you're tired. I'm tired now, I need a rest. She didn't come out and say, let's go again next season. No. Do you read anything into that?
No, I don't. I think it's more just that, the fact that she is tired. She's obviously had a difficult season with being poorly and obviously then coming back, and it's been a difficult season for many different ways. The emotions of going on to obviously winning the FA Cup final, maybe not playing at the best, but still having the know-how to go and win it, to then win the league on the final day. So I think she probably wants a little bit of family time, go home, relax, and then consider what she's going to do. But I still think Emma Hayes has got unfinished business, because I still think she wants that Champions League.
Do you think it's also a bit clever from her in the fact of, give me a new contract, reward me for what I've done?
Didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, I just think when you do something like that and the club realise what they've got, but what they could potentially lose as well, it's very smart from her if she does want to stay on and she wants to. And then also what it does as well is, does that enhance your ability to bring players into the club? We want to back her then. We want to give her more money to spend. If she dangles that carrot a little bit to say, well, I might go, then it might just give her a little bit more power long term.
Because obviously losing Eriksson, key member of that squad, Harder as well. So she'll want investment, she'll want to bring in players to replace them, not just on the field, but the big sort of characters, the ones that maybe have played in the Champions League. So,
but
really
there could be a flip side of it again, where she knows she's losing them players and the board are saying, we can't replace them. And maybe she thinks, well, maybe now's the right time to step away, because the squad's going to get weaker. I might not be able to compete next year because Manchester United are getting stronger. Manchester City are going to be stronger for the better next year. Arsenal are going to have their players back. Aston Villa are investing heavily in the league. Yeah. So maybe she goes, well, actually, it's going to be a lot more competitive. Maybe the time is now to go, I've done my bit, step away as well.
Yeah, you could say it's getting harder now Pernilla's gone. But that would just be too stupid a play on words, and we never do that on a Monday morning. So, where would be? And trust me, Chelsea fans will not want her to go. That's for sure. But where would be the logical next step for her then?
Oh, I don't know. You think, would she manage in the WSL at another team? You think maybe going abroad? Yeah, going to see what... I know she's obviously managed in America before, so she's got experience of doing that. But, do you go and see what it's like at a different club, working? Because I think one thing with Emma, she's always trying to improve. So whether that's improving the side, whether that's improving herself, lots of, you know, we talk about managers with their meticulous planning and looking at different ways to get the best out of her players. She's constantly doing that, wanting to evolve herself as a coach and evolve the team. So, you know, in her coaching career, could that be something different that she wants to do? But I still think she'll stay at Chelsea. I still think she wants to win the Champions League, and I think she'll want to win the league again. She'll want to go and win the FA Cup. She's a winner, and I still think she'll stay. So I don't think they need to worry too much.
She's a trailblazer in a progressive society. Could men's football entice her?
I'm sure it could. I think it's just now what club would take the chance to give her that opportunity. Would they say, do you know what? She's the right person. She's got the right credentials. She's got the right skill set. I think she's got the right temperament as well. I don't think it'll faze her. I think when you listen to her speak, I think she's very impressive in the way she goes about things. I think it was interesting listening to her speak yesterday, where she said she knows she's upset a lot of the squad this season by not being able to play them, but they've all played the part. And she said, she said it's the hardest job to leave players out, but she's got the ability to do that, and she is quite hard on herself, isn't she, as a person? But it's one of those things. It'll happen at some point. It's just who takes that.
We have men managing women's teams, so why not? So.
Well, it's a risk, and I think in every managerial appointment, it's a risk, isn't it? If you're getting a manager from the Championship, if you're getting a manager from abroad, if you're getting a female manager to go and manage a men's team for the first time in England, it is going to be a risk, and it's for both parties. For the female manager going in, if it doesn't work, then what happens? Where do you go from there? And the club that does it. But you just think at some point that could potentially happen. And again, it's what level do you go in at? Because I know that Emma Hayes has been linked with, you know, jobs in the lower leagues, and she's like, well, why should I do that? I'm managing at the top level of the women's game. Why would I? Could
you see her going in under a Pochettino?
I don't know. Again, it's a different skill set, isn't it, to be an assistant, to being a manager? But
why? She would argue, why should I?
Yeah.
She has the skill set, she has the CV, she has the knowledge. So why not?
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I just think to almost get your foot in the door without, you just said it there, it's a risk.
Yeah.
Whereas it becomes less of a risk if you go in with someone else and then you learn what the side of...
Because it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it is different. And whether people say, well, it's only a game of football, it's not. It's different attitudes, it's different environments.
Because obviously the football side is the same.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
On the field and the training,
but
the coaching.
Off the pitch is very different, isn't it?
Dealing with male players to dealing with female players.
I remember watching Cherry Lungi on The Manageress. That was a magnificent series. You're too young.
We just smiled and nodded.
Yeah. Manchester United pushed them all the way. Right, I mean, we talked about how far they've come, but how do they make sure that they push on and push Chelsea even harder next season?
Yeah, they've had an excellent season, and I think you've seen the development of them, and the fact that they've took it to the last day of the season, I think is a huge plus. I think Mark Skinner said that he thinks that they should have had more praise and more credit for what they've achieved, and I think we've consistently praised them and consistently praised what they've done. And you know, there's been a traditional sort of top three in the women's game for a period of time, Manchester City, Arsenal and Chelsea, and the fact that they broke into that, you look at the fans, you look at the amount of people that want to watch Manchester United play because they play some brilliant football. You think if they're going to lose players, if, you know, I know there obviously the rumours of Russo and, you know, Battier, and there's lots of rumours of will players leave. If they do, it's about replacing them and who you're going to replace them with. Playing in the Champions League, you need to invest in the squad, so they've got a bigger squad. But I thought they sent out a real statement at Christmas when Arsenal wanted Russo and they said, no, you're not having her.
It's amazing how far United have come, haven't they? Because at that moment in time, it was like Alicia Russo, she's going to miss out on potentially winning the title here and doing this, that and the other. But actually, Alicia Russo, I guess, is sitting there at a moment going, well, that worked out okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a big statement, I think, to say, well, no, we're not selling her because we're going for the title here. We're going for the FA Cup. You know, we're going to be in those Champions League spots. So we're not selling to a rival. And you know, I think Arsenal offered a lot of money. So that just shows where they're at the moment.
I think it'd be interesting to see what happens to Manchester United as a club, because we know the ownership of Manchester United on a whole depending on who takes over, both parties are saying there will be big investment into the women's football team. So if that happens, then what does Alessia Russo do? If she gets offered a big mega deal and says, listen, we're going to back Mark Skinner here, we're going to give him the money to bring in other players, does your mentality then suddenly change and go, well, hang about, this might be the right place for me? And if she's getting linked with Arsenal or getting linked with other clubs, there'll be a lot of interested parties in her. Yeah. But it'll be fascinating to see what Manchester United do as a club as well, and what their plans are long term. And it might just be that they keep her there.
Because you think it's a young club building, isn't it? And you want to be part of that. So you would say that if you're looking at your future and you're looking at, okay, what team is developing and is getting better, but obviously, you know, it all depends on who takes over as well. Finances, yeah.
Arsenal, disappointing end to the season for them. Was this purely down to those injuries?
I think it has to be. They've been so unfortunate with the amount of injuries. We were talking about it off screen, weren't we? And we were just saying it's not just fringe players. These are key players that would play huge amounts of minutes. From a forward perspective, Miedemar, Beth Mead, how many goals and assists are you losing there? Kim Little, the quality in those midfield areas. Leah Williamson, what a top quality defender she is. So you're losing so much quality, so much character in that team. So I think the fact that they've finished third, yes, Arsenal want to be again competing at the top, but it's probably an achievement when you look at everything that's gone on behind the scenes. Yeah.
At the other end, Reading down, the lowest budget in the WSL. Have they just overachieved in previous seasons? Is that what that was about?
Yeah, I think they have. I think, you know, the lowest budget in the WSL, I think it's just caught up with them. They've had key injuries to players, you know, Deanne Rose, one of them that, you know, she's been brought in as their, you know, the player that's going to score them the goal. She's been out for a long period of time, came back and then unfortunately went off again injured. So I think, you know, Kelly Chambers is, I think a big achievement for her that she's kept the team competitive for so long, and I think it was probably just a matter of time before they did go down. You look at other teams that are in and around those relegation positions, they were able to strengthen the likes of Tottenham, bringing in Beth England, huge player that's helped keep them up. Reading weren't just able to do that.
Yeah, we got to make a mention as well. Job done by Willie Kirk at Leicester. How impressive has that been?
Superb job. You know, the fact that they were favourites to go down. I think when Lydia Bedford was in charge, they didn't have any points. Willie Kirk comes in and they just climb the table, and it was a bit of a siege mentality. I think he's gone in there and gone, everybody thinks you're down, everyone thinks you're going. Let's go and show them that you're not. He's got them playing in a particular way where they've managed to pick up points and they've believed in themselves a little bit more. So a lot of credit has to go to Willie Kirk and what he's achieved, and the players as well, to be able to turn it around.
Aston Villa, your team of the season, barring Chelsea maybe because they won the title?
Yeah, and also Man United from you know, they've got to be up there as well. But I just think they've done tremendous, haven't they? From last season, you know, where there were parts where you were looking, how are they going to do in it? Are they going to fight relegation? But this year, they've just completely turned it around, competing with the top sides, showing that progression I think that we've wanted to see. They've obviously strengthened, excellent signings, Hanson, Daly, Darley, also at the back, Dan Turner and Patton. So they've strengthened at both ends of the pitch, but play some lovely stuff. And I think Carla Ward's certainly done a brilliant job with the team that she's got, and they're certainly going to be the ones to watch next season. Will they be able to break into that top four that we spoke about?
WSL built on the Euros, record crowds this season, a World Cup to come. Is this sense of optimism and momentum still very much there then? It
is. It just shows that there is a real appetite for women's football. People want to watch it. It's, you know, it's a really good product, whether you go into the games, whether you're watching it on TV, and you just think if the girls can go and be successful again in the World Cup, it's just going to keep building. And yeah, it's just great to see and be a small part of it in terms of now, you know, talking about it rather than playing.
She wishes she was still playing.
I do.
Yeah. Oh, but you get to sit next to Stephen on
true.
A Monday.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
It just keeps getting worse, doesn't it?